Hello everyone, and welcome to our series of using different devices in your classroom, whether it be a cell phone, whether it be a tablet, or a Chromebook. And in this particular episode, we're going to focus on a wonderful tool known as Polleverywhere. Polleveryware is a free, well, I should say usually the term is a freemium or something like that, where you get some free features and you got to pay for other features. But mostly the free features are wonderful. Polling service that allows students to use either a device like a cell phone or a Chromebook or a tablet, or they can even use a laptop, and they can submit responses to interactive polls. This service has expanded so much over the years. When I first started using this tool maybe about 7 years ago, it was fairly simplistic, but now there's such a wonderful wealth of options you can do to create some really neat interactive formative assessments for your students and really engage conversations and discussions with your students. This can be used at a large grade level. I really say from first, second grade all the way through the high school and even in the collegiate levels as well. All right. Now this is the main page. The website is polleverywhere.com. Okay, polleverywhere.com. So that's what we're looking at right here. Okay, and how it works and the pricing. Everything's free for the most part. I'll go to pricing right away to kind of get that out of the way. And here we have, we'll go to the K-12 areas. And you can see it's free to sign up, but you get 40 responses per poll, okay? Which you also get for the premium features, which really isn't a huge increase. But you can choose your username, which means that you can sort of customize how students see your name on poll, which is really nice. But a lot of the features that I use a lot, like embedding them in a PowerPoint or embedding them in a Google slide presentation, full web, all the different question types, live word clouds, text walls, really, things that we're going to look at in this series are all free. And, that's absolutely wonderful. Now, what you get into here is some really nice aspects. If you want to actually use this as grades, which you can do in the free features, but it's not going to be as reliable. Basically, you can have grades, exported to a spreadsheet, which is really nice. You can moderate posts, which is really important because you can moderate inappropriate, posts or comments, and we'll get into that a little bit. This one also has automatic censoring, so no one sort of posts anything that's inappropriate. And the rest of it's really all for the district or school-wide plans. Okay, so this is really kind of nice. They have a really kind of nice feature here of how everything works, how you can engage your audience in real time. So it's good to kind of go through all that. Some of this is also certainly geared towards the business field as well. Okay, so that's how Polleverywhere works. So let's actually go look at Polleverywhere. So let me actually go back to that screen. And when you sign up for the very first time, you want to choose your primary use. Are you going to be participant or are you going to be presenting? So really, in this case, we're going to be presenters, and you got to fill in this form to create your account. Now, I would love if this was tied to a single sign-in, like a Google sign-in or a Microsoft 365 sign-in, but it's not, unfortunately. So you got to create your account and everything that you need to do. Okay, so that's how it actually works. All right, pretty easy to create your account. Now, once you do this, this is actually the main page of your Polleverywhere screen. And we'll kind of navigate it here. Let me kind of scroll around a little bit. These are all the polls that I've created over the many years that I've used this. And these are called what's known as ungrouped polls, which means that they're not really put in any sort of format. You just put them in here. They're kind of not really organized. But then you can actually put polls into groups, which is really nice. And I kind of have them by different assignments or different readings that I'm doing. As a high school history teacher. Okay, so you can kind of see all that. All right. At the top of this is the main area where you can create polls. You can also import polls from others who have shared them out, which is kind of nice. Okay. We can kind of check all of them or lock all of them or collapse all the polls. Okay. All right. And we can group them, we can ungroup them, and do some important things there as well. And we can also download our polls, okay, which I can't really do now because nothing really reported. We could report, we can clear. So we'll kind of go through all these as we work through our polls. What I want to focus on really is getting you involved in creating a poll for the very first time. And it's pretty easy. We just press create here, and what's really nice about this is that they've expanded so many of the features. Multiple choice poll is really nice, obviously. Okay, but we can also do some really fun word clouds, which is great, especially in the lower grades, whereas students text their responses. The more people who text the same response, that word gets larger and larger and larger. Now, with this kind of poll, you have to be careful because you have to only really tell students to text in one word. If they text in phrases, it will actually pick up the repetition of each word in the phrase. Only way really around that is to put an underscore in between each word or a dash, but then sometimes students kind of forget to do that. This is kind of a neat one, audience favorite, where after people post their polls, the audience can kind of do kind of a question and answer, and they can kind of have more of an interaction. This is a rank order, which allows the audience to rank which one they think is the best. Here you can actually embed in images and click on the embeddable image. You could do surveys, which are more, multiple questions. Open-ended questions I use a lot. These are just large text responses. And then we even have more choices. Okay, donut charts, icebreakers, leaderboards, emotional scales. As you can kind of see here, it really goes on and on, which is really pretty awesome. So there's so much you can do here in terms of really creating some really interactive polls for your students. But let's just kind of start with the easiest one, multiple choice poll. Right? So we can just pose a simple question. Okay, are you excited about learning today? All right, now, okay, this is obviously a simple question. Okay, I hope everybody can kind of see that a little bit. Make that a little bit larger for you. And here now we can do a lot of different things. I could actually say, obviously, yes. I can say no. I could embed a URL here, which is kind of neat. I could actually import a picture on any of my polls. I could put a picture here for my question. I could put a picture here for each answer, which is really kind of nice. Okay, so there I have my first multiple choice poll. Now down here I can say ungrouped, or I can add it to one of the groups that I've already created for all the different the activities that I use. Okay, or you can now add another activity. Okay, after you've made this poll, I can also add more question responses. Okay, so not sure. Okay, something like that. I can delete my responses. I could also move them around a little bit if I wanted to kind of change the order of the way the responses appear. I can also add another activity, which is kind of neat. Okay, so it tells you created you are an ungrouped poll. Okay, so while it wants me to actually group it, which is fine, but now it added another question. Okay, so I can add another question here as well. Okay, which is really kind of fun. So let's just press create. Oh, I got to go back to my original one. Sorry about that. It logged me out. Okay, let me get a little bit smaller here. So once I press the create button, now this is what you actually see now. Okay, so there's a lot going on here in terms of how we can deliver this poll to our students. Okay, so let's just sort of go over this sort of slowly and very carefully in terms of how this is set up. Okay, now you can do some things here, like you can edit the visual settings of your poll. The answers right now are going to appear in a bar graph. They can also appear in a column chart. They can also brand new a donut chart. It's kind of like more like a piegram donut kind of chart, which is kind of neat. You can change the color scheme, and we can kind of mess around with some of the different colors. Okay, if we want to kind of just customize it to a certain way. Secondary color, right? You can kind of do that, which is really kind of neat. The heat map is basically the bar colors, what they're going to look like, the long bar colors. We can change the font size. We can change the title text colors, okay, which is interesting. How people respond, we can also change that color. The background, the bars, you can really get into it. Now, honestly, I've never done any of this. Instruction view settings we can kind of change. So it really gets into every single visual aspect you see here. You can customize it the way you want. Now, that's fine. If you want to spend a lot of time on that, certainly you can. All right. This is where it actually publishes the poll. It activates it. So right now you see it says when the poll is active, people can respond right here at pollev.com/me, Dr. Kalik, or they can text their responses in as well. All right, so I haven't published it yet, so no one can really look at it. Right now is as the students respond to the answers here, it will be live. All right, so as more people respond yes or no, the bars will change, right? It will be live. You can hide the chart, which I've actually done a lot. If you don't want your respondents to see the results until you close the poll, you can do that as well. That I think is really useful, okay? So you can kind of hide it, or you can kind of, you know, let that go. You can lock the poll, which means that people can no longer respond. You can clear the results of the poll, all right? It is archived in your reports, all right? And you can make the poll full screen, obviously, if you're presenting, which is really nice as well, okay? So that's a really good thing to have there too, okay? So I can just press publish, and now the poll is active, okay? Which is kind of nice. Again, if I went full screen, I'd be waiting for my responses to come in, okay? I could exit that full screen, and I could also, remember, I could hide it, so we don't really know who is responding until the end. When people respond, we'll get a result of how many people are responding right now, okay? So that's kind of interesting, all right? Now what I just did is I just switched my browsers, and I went to pollev.com/Dr. Kalik, so you can see what the poll looks like from the web. Now if you put this web address in a Chromebook, if you put it on your phone's like browser, if you're using the Google Chrome, or you're using maybe Safari on an iPhone or an iPad, this is how it will actually look, okay? Which is a new feature. Students have to enter the name that should appear with your responses, okay? So this is kind of nice, so you can actually have some accountability. In the free feature, students here can, you know, type anything that they want. You know, you're trusting they're going to put their name down, right? When you buy the actual full version of Polleverywhere, students actually register their devices and they register their name, so they actually have an account. So really when they log in, you'll actually know exactly who is using this. So you got to decide if that's really worth the $50 a year for the service. I used to subscribe to it. I no longer really do, to tell you the truth. But again, that's something that you need to decide. Okay, so I'm actually going to put my last name, comma first name. So I kind of like that. So if I really want to put this in a spreadsheet, it would be sort of organized. So I'm going to press continue. Okay, and now this is what the poll looks like. Am I excited about learning today? I can only respond once. I'm going to say definitely yes. Okay, and that's it. I responded. So now if we go back to the poll, you see that 100% that already came place live in real time. If I hide the results, what's happening is it says that one, if you can see that there, I don't know if you can see that, one, oh, doesn't really, I really can't zoom in like that. It kind of gets all distorted. I apologize. But you can kind of see it down here, one result. Okay, so one person responded, and that was actually me. So that's kind of nice. If you have a class of 25 students or 22 students, you can kind of count. You know exactly how many students have responded, so you know that it's time to move on to the next question. Now here you kind of see here, this is an ungrouped poll. But if I had a group poll, I'll show you that I can go right on to the next question. So you can kind of, almost like a slideshow, you can kind of go on to the next question. So that's kind of how that works. Now the texting is kind of interesting too here. Is that if let me just hide my result. I did hide the results here, okay, which is really good. All right. Now, if I present this poll, how to present it, it shows how I could present this in different places. But also, let me make this a little smaller. You can see here that people can also text the responses in. So what they need to do here is they need to text my name, is the poll I just, this is my account. They put that in the text box, and they text 37601 to join once. So they join once, and then from that point on, they can always just use their texting feature to type A, B, or C, depending on what the poll was. So students can respond via text, or they can respond via a web. I kind of like the web better. I think it's an easier interface, but really it's up to you. Okay, so that's kind of the way it works. All right, so that's kind of what you're seeing. So I hope that made sense. Now again, on the side here, we have some ways we can configure this. We can present from the web. We can also download this as a PowerPoint slide, which is really nice. and you download sort of this little app that goes into PowerPoint, and this will actually be embedded into your PowerPoint slides, which is very useful. Okay, I can share this responsible link. I can share this with people on the web, so I can actually put this link on my website, which is really kind of nice. People can respond without the poll being active, which is, again, if the poll isn't active, it doesn't matter. So you can actually use this as a homework assignment. You can put this on your website. So you have the link here. You can actually email it. You can actually tweet it, or you can actually put it on Facebook. And this would be a link tied only to this poll. You can also use this page to present the poll to a live audience. That's the poll EV Dr. Kotlik, okay, which is really kind of nice. And it will remain active for 3 hours, okay? This is the live results link. It's not a poll, but it will show you the live results of your poll in real time. And that's something nice to tweet out if you want everybody to kind of see this. Or you can embed the poll on your web page or blog. So if I press embed the poll, basically it's like a little widget, and it will look like this, and people would respond to it. And then we can copy and paste this little widget right into our website, and then this is how the live widget will actually look. So again, I mean, for a free tool, it's great. Also on the side here, you can also embed into Google Slides. So I can just click on this link for Google Slides, and it will give you the extension to download, and I can add it to Chrome. I already have mine added to Chrome, and then I could put this in a Google Slide. All right, which is really kind of nice. So either way, you can put it right into a Google Slide, or you can put it into a PowerPoint. So really, in terms of sharing a poll, pretty awesome. Okay, I can test the poll out. This is what it actually will look like. Okay, gives you a sense. They all respond. So it will look like the text message. It will look like this. Okay, so it gives you a sense of how actually it will look. All right, and then when you press present, we already did that part. It gives you the different options of how to actually do this, to actually share it out. Okay, so really some great ways to kind of configure your poll and do some really nice things. Let me go back to configuring though. How people can respond, so we can actually kind of limit it. Website, text messaging. You can add keywords for your responses. The audience, you can restrict their identity. Right now we have everyone, no restrictions. We have the screen name, which is important. Or you can say anonymous, but again, it says be careful because you'll have no idea who did that. Response settings, you push my response up to 1 time. We can change that as many times as they like. Okay, so it's up to you. Okay, they can change their answers. They can't change their answers. Maybe one is a real assessment. And then there's a custom reply, but this is actually a paid feature where you can send them a custom reply. You can also schedule lock and unlock times. Then an hour from now, or you can customize it when you want this poll to actually end. So, I mean, it's amazing how much you really want to get into this for a free product, okay? For the most part, free, right? So there's all my polls, okay? As we're kind of going into all of this. I showed you the basic one, okay? But again, you can play around with all the different styles, okay? I'll just show you some of the other ones that I've used here in terms of grouping a poll. Sometimes I ask students why they took this course, okay, and these are like open-ended questions. So I can go to this response, and what happens here is you're going to kind of see they're all going to pop up. And we did this one, you know, and this is how it looks when you actually do a live poll. They sort of pop up one at a time. People are kind of being silly, all right, whatever the case may be. Which is fine. So they're kind of getting some of the reasons why they took a course, okay? And that's how that works, okay? So that's kind of another example for you, which we can kind of go through here, okay? Sometimes what I like to do is, you know, what's an argument of a text, things like that. Find a good text example from a passage and share that. You know, shared the argument of an account, all right, which is really kind of interesting. So there's just so many things you can do in terms of creating polls, even like doing like practice questions for assessments, thesis quotes, your own, you know, summarize the historian's argument. Okay. So, they can be fairly long responses in many cases, okay? And this shows you the directions. When this poll, okay, when the poll is active, all right, I can make it active, all right? And then we can kind of see all the results as well, all right? And we can kind of go through each. I can go make this live, okay? And then that's how it looks when you can show them some of the directions, okay? So in terms of lists, this is an older feature when I had the paid version, but if you have the paid version, you'll have sort of a keyword. You can create classes, and you can have subscribers, and you can know who they are, okay? So that's old. I haven't used this in a long time, but they've kind of kept that up there. Participants in your polls. You get to upgrade to that, but you'll know exactly who's in your classes, which is a nice feature to have for the $50. Okay, sorry, go back to here. And I want to go back to my reports. If it will let me go to reports. And then this is upgrading feature, all right? Upgrade to individual teacher plan to unlock the reporting. But you're going to get a lot of really great features of exporting to a CSV file and some other really awesome things. Okay, so you really got some great aspects here about the pricing and how everything works. But it's a wonderful tool to kind of have some fun with. Okay, so I really hope that's a great way to introduce you to some of the great features of Polleverywhere. And hopefully you'll enjoy this and use it with your own students. All right, take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.